What I'm trying to do actually right now is trying to concentrate on facilitation, be a facilitator for some workshop. And that's why design sprints really seduce me because the role of the facilitator is very important to bring the group to an optimal results and for the experience.
You just heard from Benjamin Richy. He's a design sprint facilitator, UX builder, innovation booster from Lyon, France. He's also very versed in Lego Serious Play, and he's my special guest this week on the Dallas Design Sprints podcast. I actually had this interview with him about a month ago, and for one reason or another, I haven't had the chance to put it up online, but after seeing him at Jake Knapp's workshop in Paris, France, I was quickly reminded that I needed to get this out the door. So we had a good time talking about his perspective on design sprints, how they match in with Agile, his work as an independent consultant, and also how design sprints and Lego Serious Play kind of match. We even have a little surprise for you in that he speaks a little French in this one, which I am thrilled that he did. So have a listen. Hopefully you'll like it, and we'll talk to you on the other side. So Benjamin, thank you very much for coming on to the Dallas Design Sprints podcast. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you very much, Rob.
No problem. You are a design sprint facilitator, a UX builder, an innovation booster. So you boost innovation. You're out in France in the Lyon area. Mm-hmm. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Lyon?
Yes.
Okay.
Lyon, that's it.
And you've been an independent consultant now for just under 4 years. You're also doing some work in Lego Serious Play. So you have a wide variety of different disciplines and methods that you kind of bring to the table. I wanted to talk to you about what design sprints mean in France specifically. Like how do you manage sprints in Europe from your perspective?
Design sprint in France in this year, 2019, is a kind of it becomes really popular. Everybody try to experiment their first sprints because there's a real exciting things about trying to shift to a piece of product in a very short of time. It's popular. It's a bit trendy as well, and a lot of people running design sprints without following the recipe. I try to follow as well as I can the recipe from Jake Knapp because I think we don't need to change the recipe. But following the recipe doesn't mean that you are a good cook or a good chef. And we have some very good chefs in France. I try to be one of them for design sprints, of course, but it's not easy to run a design sprint, and the role of facilitator is really important. Now, in 2017, the book has been translated, and at this point, it became more and more important in France. Some people like me and others that tried very early, we were early adopter for design sprint method, talk a lot of this method in some articles in Medium, for instance, and we made as well a kind of design sprint community to push the methods in some professional conference as well around UX design. And now a lot of people want to try it and want to be trained on the method, but training is not really the good way to be a good facilitator. It's you have to experiment with someone more experimented, like a Padawan with his Jedi. That's what I think. It's a better way to raise your skills to be able to run a sprint.
From your standpoint, how important is facilitation? I remember our conversation earlier about facilitation being a key component to either a successful design sprint or even when you're doing Lego Serious Play. From your perspective, how important is facilitation?
Sometimes it's difficult to say why it's so important to have an external facilitator in the group, but the first thing is we are supposed to be neutral. We are not supposed to say what we think about this idea or these other ideas. And we are here to guide a group to the objective. I really like the parallel with the Sherpa that in the Everest that are coming, they are leading, they are guiding their clients to the summit, but there's no reward for them. They are just here to guide them in the good way until the objective, until the summit. So I don't know if it's a good metaphor, but to be a success, the recipe of design sprints has to be conducted and guided by someone that is external from the company or from the group, because he's here just to let the team trying their own solutions and trying to decide what are the very good ideas to be implemented in prototype.
From your standpoint, do you find it difficult to sell sprints to companies and to organizations as an external facilitator?
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's it. Because selling a sprint is telling your customers or your client that in 1 week they can get rid of risk, a lot of risk on a project. If they have a complicated project, for instance, turning from products to service, they want to launch new services around technical products, but they have a technical culture. Selling a sprint is saying in 1 week you will discover if the kind of service you want to launch will work or not. They don't really believe that you can have this kind of answer in 1 week. The sprint concentrates the efforts of the people on expressing an assumption, and in the 5th days you have the answer if your assumption is validated or not. If the assumption that you made, and sometimes it's a business assumption, can I make this kind of service even if I am a manufacturer of these kind of products? The company are waiting some big results from the design sprints, but they don't really believe that 5 days will be enough to do this. It's not really easy to sell the sprint because these clients think that you can do a 5-month project in 5 days, and that's not really the case. That's not magical. So the key point is that we are just exploring a little slice of a solution. We are not exploring the whole service or the whole product. And the other point why it's difficult to sell sprint to a company or to clients is it's not about money. That's really interesting. It's not about money. It's about time. It's about how could I clean the agenda of 7 people during 1 week. And now what I'm trying to do is to say that it's possible to do that if we plan the sprint in 3 months, in 5 months, in 6 months. If you plan the sprint really before the date, it's easy to clean the agenda because the agenda is not busy as this time. The main difficulty, I think, it's trying to catch the people in the same time, at the same moment, and to make the people really focused on this special week.
It's not really about the money involved with it. It's just the organization of logistics of getting everyone on the same calendar.
Yes, exactly. That's what I think, because I'm running a new sprint in 1 month. It's about industrial security, how we can manage security in industrial environment, in manufacturers. It's a kind of 1 year pre-sales. It's 1 year that we are discussing with the clients, and the week has been postponed 3 times. But this time it's okay. 2 months before, the agenda is really locked. The big challenge and difficulty in before sprints, the organization. Therefore, some people try to run some sprints in 4 days or 3 days. I think it could work, but I don't think that's the optimal experience.
What are some of the unique qualities that you have that organizations and companies seek you out for?
Wow, that's a very difficult question. At the beginning of sprints, I'm always asking to people to trust me. It's a tip that Jack Knapp has put in his book, and I was thinking this tip was kind of weird because at the beginning of the day, you don't know who is in the room, and they don't know you, and you ask people to trust them. And I think a kind of quality could be to make people at ease at the very beginning. So the first quarter is critical, but I don't know how I do it, but I think people can trust me quicker maybe than normally. Maybe I can inspire confidence as well in their capacity to run the sprint, because trust is working in both sides. I have to trust them that they are able to run the sprint, but they have to trust me that I will help them. And this trust is installed very early in the sprints, and I think it's very important.
What kind of work are you really enjoying, and what do you hope
Oh,
more of this year?
what I'm really interested now is mixing product strategy with UX design and with innovation. In the past, I worked on some projects as a UX, user experience designer, and sometimes you are really focused on the interface, on how you can design an interface. What I want to do is to make some products or some services that are really useful for people, but that are also good for business, for my company, for my customers. It's not only just pushing an interface or digital products. I would like to have the approach of design very early in the product development, and at the real beginning, what is our strategy and why this product, this kind of idea could be a real success and could be really useful for our people, for our customers. Design sprint can answer to these questions at the very beginning, when you have a big project and you don't know by which way to choose to begin the projects. Sprint zero could be a really good thing to align people on one vision and on what could be a project or products. So what I try to do now is to concentrate myself in this year in workshop facilitation, product strategy, and then trying to create a story for the user. And the user is the character of the story. Storytelling, storyboard, prototyping, and testing as quicker as possible and as often as possible. To achieve this, I try just to have a role of facilitator.
If you're speaking at the Google Design Sprint Conference in a year, what are you going to be standing on stage talking about?
If I were speaking, if
you were invited to the Google Design Sprint
if I were, oh wow, ooh la la.
What would you love to talk about?
I think I would love to talk about how designer mindset or design mindset can bring better business. You know, in France, I don't know in Europe as well, but I don't know in the US actually right now, but in France, a lot of companies are going in agile transformation, or are going in a cultural or digital transformation. What I would like to talk about is that design can change the way of people are working, and if they work better with a designer mindset, they will be happier and the customer will be happier as well. And I think organizational transformation could be done by the eye of a designer. It's not only about the methods, it's about a mindset as well. We talk a lot of empathy, but I don't see really when I come to a customer and I say, okay, we have to go in the field to do some research about how your products are used if we want to improve your products. Most of the time, the answer is, yeah, but we know what the customer wants. So I would like to change this way of thinking. You know that what the customer wants because you did a customer survey, but you didn't see the customer using the product you produce. If I had to make a conference for Google, just talking about how we can change the way of thinking and the business would be better if we adopt the eye of a designer. Is that clear?
Yeah. No, I follow you.
And the question is, but what is this mindset? What is designer mindset? And so if you explore design thinking, it's really have the eye of a child, going to the field, going to see how the people and using products, and with the eye of a child, and just ask him some candid questions to understand why it is difficult or not to use, for example, an application, or is it difficult to find your train in a rail station? There's a lot of people completely lost in the stations. Could be so easy to improve the experience, but companies doesn't really care about what is happening on the field. So.
It's interesting because that particular topic was one of the ones that came out of a Lightning Decision Jam for the Virtual Design Sprint Conference.
Oh yeah, okay. But
one of the challenges was about developing countries and the intense urbanization and travel options people have. I agree with you that it has to be projecting out a particular challenge or a particular audience and really showcasing how the method can help those individuals with their particular problems.
That's great. That's fine.
Which is interesting because you had remarked about the appropriate time to use a 5-day sprint, a 4-day sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Google just came out with a 3-day version of the method.
Mm-hmm.
From your perspective, when is it appropriate to do one particular design sprint recipe over another?
I don't really know actually, because I'm really loyal to the 5-day design sprints. The last July in Switzerland, I was with Jack Knapp, and I was with 17 people with Jack Knapp running a workshop about some tweaks of the 5-day design sprints. And we talked about, there were a lot of questions about the number, is it 3 days, 4 days, 5 days? And the question is that, what do you choose, and why did you choose? Why you choose 3, 4, or 5 days? At the moment, I only want to do 5 days because I noticed that we need to take the time. It's 6 hours of work a day. If you do 8 hours a day because you want to compress the sprint, people cannot be focused on 8 hours on what they are doing. So 6 hours is a lot. I try different configuration. I try to stretch some phase. I try to cut some stuff. I try to do the first 3 days in 2 days only. I found out that the 5-day was the perfect timing because it's necessary to take some time. For instance, in the 3rd day, when you just put on the wall all the sketches of very good solutions, and you have to decide. And this vote needs times. You cannot say to people, okay, take your dots and you have 10 minutes to do your best choice. You have to run this like an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours. People have to take some time because it's a really important moment where you decide what kind of slice of the cake you want to transform in prototype. I don't say that 4 days or 3 days are bad ideas, but if you look at the agency AG Smart in Berlin, they are close to Jack Knapp as well. They exchange a lot with him. They are the first that they talk about the Design Sprint 2.0 in 4 days. But if you look exactly at what they are doing, they are preparing before the beginning of the week. They are preparing a lot. So the day one is a kind of day zero, but it's prepared only with the deciders or stakeholders, not with the whole team. So I think it's 5 days, but only 4 with the whole team. That's it.
So you're saying they shift some of the Monday activities?
Yes, I think so. I think so. I cannot be really sure because I didn't try their formula. I don't want to say that 3 or 4 days, it's not a good idea. I ran not a huge amount of sprint. I ran like 15 sprints. It's not really a huge number of sprints in 3 years. I really tried to tweak some stuff, to add some stuff, to add some techniques, to cut some stuff. And I discovered that finally the recipe was perfect. But you have to pick the good ingredients. A really good sprint team. So the choice of the people are important. A good facilitator, but you have to pick first a really good challenge. And sometimes people running sprints for wrong reasons. They say, we want to optimize our website. You have to choose a really big challenge for the company and a business challenge. If it's only trying to optimize our website, but The website is just describing the company, what we are doing, and some customer case. You don't need a design sprint. You don't need that. You need a good designer, or you need a good UX, or you good UI designer to do that. Maybe I can tell a story about a sprint I made with a company that are managing restaurants in France, in Lyon. They are managing 8 restaurants. It's gastronomic restaurants from Paul Bocuse. I don't know if you know this really, really famous chef. We made a sprint with the top direction team to be able to find a solution for their back office, a tool, a software tool to manage when they order some stuff to make the receipts. I don't know if I'm really clear with that, Rob. I'm sorry.
That's okay. If you want to, you can tell me the story in French.
Okay.
Your opportunity to do a little language.
It would be the exotic.
Yes. No. Go ahead and tell the entire story in French, and I'll be fine.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about Paul Bocuse. Paul Bocuse. Maintenant, je vais le faire en français puisque j'ai du mal à expliquer le sprint, en fait, pourquoi on a fait ce sprint. Et en fait, la société Bocuse, elle a plusieurs restaurants. Elle a des restaurants gastronomiques très haut de gamme, des restaurants étoilés avec des grands chefs. Et on a fait un sprint chez eux qui était assez atypique. On a fait un sprint dans un restaurant, donc pas dans la salle de restaurant, mais au premier étage. Et l'idée, c'était de trouver une solution pour leur back office. Donc, c'est un sprint sur du software. C'était un sprint sur du logiciel. Leur problème, c'était au départ le challenge. Il faut prendre un très gros challenge. Et pour eux, le challenge, c'est de dire comment on pourrait choisir le logiciel qui nous permettrait de gérer nos fournisseurs et nos produits pour calculer nos prix de recettes. Et à la fin du premier jour, on a explosé le challenge, comme on fait souvent en design sprint, c'est on re-questionne le challenge. Et à la fin du premier jour, le goal sprint, donc la question de sprint qui est ressortie, la problématique, c'est comment on peut fiabiliser le reporting qui nous permet de calculer la marge sur nos recettes. Ils sont aperçus qu'en fait, le vrai problème, c'était que les chiffres n'étaient pas fiables pour calculer les marges de recettes. Donc, il y avait un vrai problème de pricing au niveau des fournisseurs, au niveau de la réception des produits. Et donc, c'était vraiment intéressant parce qu'au départ, l'idée, c'était de dire comment on peut fabriquer de prototyper l'outil qui permettrait de gérer les commandes fournisseurs. Et on est arrivé, en fait, sur la première journée à dire, mais en fait, comment on peut avoir des données fiables? Et donc, le prototype, c'était un prototype, finalement, qui était de dessiner des nouveaux tableaux de bord avec des flux aussi d'intégration des différentes données des différents systèmes. Is that okay for you, Rob? Now it sounds good in French.
That was beautiful. Benjamin, that was exquisite. I'm very glad you did it that way.
That was so much easy for me because it was about the goods, the supply chain, the way you choose. The challenge what they wanted to choose a software to a good software to order the goods and to calculate the price and the gross margin for the receipt. And after the end of the first day, the challenge has exploded. Like it's really often that you challenge the challenge, and the problem statement where how we can catch some reliable and relevant data to calculate the gross margin for the receipt. And the prototype was finally some business intelligence, some reports. That's it.
Oh, that was perfect. I guess the last question I have, and then I'll give you the option of mixing both English and French if you get stuck.
Thank you.
What is the difference between Lego Serious Play and the design sprint methodology?
Okay. Maybe I have to explain a bit what is Lego Serious Play. I was trained 2 years ago now. Lego Serious Play is a method that helps people to answer a very tough question. Like, for instance, if you say to someone, okay, you have 5 minutes to tell me what is your vision of leadership. It's a very tough question. And to answer a tough question like this, it's not mandatory to talk to answer questions. You can build some metaphor and some stories with Lego bricks. That's the point in the Lego Serious Play method, is to solve problems individually and in groups, by building solutions that are expressing what you think, what your feelings, and building solution expressing by metaphor. In design sprints, we build solutions as well. We are not using metaphor. The process could be quite the same. There are some phases are the people are working alone, the famous work alone together. They are in the same place, but they are, for example, sketching solutions alone. In Lego Serious Play, they answer a question alone during like 7 minutes, for example. They are exposing their little model of bricks to the others and telling the stories. And if you, in design sprints, you also tell a story about the sketch that other people has made. There's a trick on the design sprints. So when you are making a storyboard or a sketch, you're not presenting your own sketch to the others. It's you pick someone in the group that presenting a sketch that he didn't draw. And in Lego Serious Play, you're presenting your own answer that you build in bricks. So that's a kind of parallel between two individual phases, individual moment and group moment. And at the end of Lego Serious Play workshop, you build a shared model, about what Robert Rasmussen called a shared model. So you pick some individual ideas, the best one for you, and you put it together with other people, you share it, and you try to make a common story, the story of different people. So that's the group that answer to the question, for instance, that what is your vision of leadership, or what are our strategy in this company, or what is the team spirit in this particular team. We can make some parallel between two, and the role of the facilitator is very important in design sprint and Lego Serious Play. A good facilitation is when people at the end of a sprint or at the end of the Lego workshop say, "Oh yeah, you were a good facilitator, but maybe we didn't need you." And where people say that, it means that you were very good at what you did, because they are the feelings that everything was so seamless that they don't really need you.
Do you think that you could use Lego Serious Play during the Tuesday activities, the sketch day, but for sketch day, historically, it's been for digital products and building out and sketch interfaces. For physical devices or physical like 3D creation that are meant to address the potential solution, could, instead of using pen and paper, fire up some Lego Serious Play and have people explore different solutions based on a physical model than a digital one?
Okay, very good question. The answer is yes, you can use bricks, Lego bricks, but no, it's not Lego Serious Play. On Thursday, you are building a prototype. So if you are prototyping a space, for example, hospital, a library, you are prototyping real things. You are prototyping a space, chairs, tables, people that are moving in this space. So I really often use bricks to prototype physical products or physical experience. But it's not really Lego Serious Play, because in the LSP, you are building a metaphor. I really think that you can combine the two much more on the first day. The first day, when you try you push the team to what are the sprint questions, what kind of question we want to answer, what is important, what is our goal, what we want to achieve, what is the objective around the sprint, and what is your vision. And to express that, sometimes it's very difficult that people answer to these questions. So I think the Lego Serious Play could fit really well in the day one, but you can use also bricks as prototyping artifacts in the day 4.
I always wondered about that. It seemed like there was some crossover if it made sense to do so. But hearing your answer, it certainly gives some thought around how that could be done.
Yeah, I should try it. I should experiment it, because I didn't mix the two things right at the moment. Right now, I didn't really make this possible, but I know that some people are doing this in Italy and in Belgium. I have to get in touch with them to know what are their feedback about this, what is really working and not really working. But I should try myself.
It would be an interesting conversation to have with Fabrizio as well, who we both know.
Yes,
because
exactly.
He's a powerhouse when it comes to not only Lego serious play, but just being at the forefront of a lot of experimentation and discussion around the methodology of design sprints and where that's going. So the two of you somehow getting together for 30 minutes online and just discussing this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have to take some time to do this, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So if people want to find out more about you and what you do, where would you guide them?
I'm really trying to talk a lot about what I'm doing, mainly workshops in LinkedIn, in the LinkedIn social network. So they can find me in LinkedIn and just to have a look at some recent posts.
You have some presentations also on your LinkedIn profile where it shows you in action, going through a workshop. And
oh yeah. There's some conference that has been capturing video as well. What I like is to take some techniques of method. For instance, I learned a lot about how to get rid of risk on a product. So I read the book Lean UX from Jeff Gothelf, and it's really software oriented. I try his method in for something else than software, from products, physical products, or for services. And I really like to experiment and to take some pieces, to make some pieces. I'm not doing this with the design sprint because I think the recipe is really fine. The recipe is really fine, and you don't need to change some stuff. But actually, normally I try to take some lean startup things, for example, lean UX design, value proposition design. I try to mix some stuff and to build some really unique workshop to solve a problem of a specific company in a specific industry. Each time I experiment some stuff, I post on LinkedIn, and I try to talk and to make these feedbacks, a lot of feedbacks in conference. And sometimes some people accept me as a speaker. I'm pretty proud to make a lot of feedback experience. I try this. Some stuff worked, some others failed. And just explaining and helping people to make their own experience as well. Because I don't think that you can apply just a method that works in every industry for every problem for any people. You have to mix and change and to adapt. I'm not running a many design sprint. I think that's insane. For instance, to run one sprint every week, because after 4 weeks you're really dead.
Yeah, but you've expired. You're laying under your desk and not moving much.
Yeah. Every 2 or 3 months, it's okay for me, but I don't push design sprints all the time. I want that I'm using this method as a tool to sometimes accelerate the project, sometimes get rid of risk of something on the project, sometimes to test a new idea. I share this mostly on LinkedIn. I have a website as well, but I'm not very proud of this website, but you can use it. It's called usermood.net. You can just check this, and it's in French. So if you try,
I'll put it up on my Instagram so everyone can see it.
Okay, thank you. I'm very proud of the name User Mood, because it's I wanted to focus on users. And okay, design is you can be super proud of what you're doing when you design something, but you design something to someone. Recently, I made a research on what is the design, how can I define this for the students, how can I explain the design. And I find a definition somewhere that is saying in English, that design is designing something for someone. There's an intention. So I really like this sentence.
Okay, Benjamin, I appreciate your time. I really enjoyed listening to you. Never.
Yeah, me too. You are a really good host. You make people feel at ease. I really thank you for this.
Not a problem. And I do encourage you to speak more in your native language. I wish people would speak more. English is certainly a bonding language, but I think if you recorded yourself talking about your perspectives on design sprints in the future and where it's going, it would be a really interesting listen.
Okay, thanks a lot for everything, and hope the audience will enjoy this conversation.
I'm sure they will. Au revoir, Benjamin. I talk to you later.
Ok, thanks a lot. Merci, à très vite, peut-être, j'espère. En tout cas, j'espère venir à Dallas. Bye.
Thank you very much for listening to the Dallas Design Sprints podcast. If you have a question or a comment, feel free to leave those at robert@dallasdesignsprints.com. You can also find us online at Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and even Facebook. We're doing a writing challenge all this week. You can check out the details at dallasdesignsprints.com/writing challenge for all the details and how you can join and have a lot of fun with us. Take care. See you next time.